Yo boys, back with another video. Today we're going to be doing Rogue-Mage, and these games were really solid. This mage is actually really good. He's not bad at all. He's like, I don't know what his XP is. He's probably like 2200 XP plus, but he overall played really good. Probably the best mage I played with this season as like setup wise. He was really good on it. But as you can see, we're gonna sap. He's gonna DB sheep, or he's gonna DB the warrior on my sap. I sap, he gets the DB. I kidney, we get a bus go here. He ends up fearing, since we already got trinket, we're gonna hold the trinket. There's not really a point of using our trinkets if my guy didn't bust. So we end up getting trinket for free without even having to using it. He also uses Aegis. So he used both those without us even busting it. So that's like a free cooldown. We didn't have to do much for it. That's all we had to do. So we end up getting a really good sheep here. So I end up sheep shotting. He pre-grounds, but I kill the grounds. As you can see, I sheep and then I kill the ground instantly. I cheap shot him again. We get a really good sheep. I end up mark for that thing. I cheap him again. We get another sheep, and he trinkets. So he trinkets my DR cheap shot. That's why they lost the game. I mean, they were still in a really bad spot because I have blind and Warrior has no cooldown. So like, I think regardless, they still would have lost this game since he trinketed air in the opener, or not really air, but he trinketed a non-busco. That's what happens. You got to be really smart with your cooldowns versus Rogue-Mage. If you just use your cooldowns accordingly, you have a way better chance to winning than just spamming whatever you think is right. Just do it. You can't. You have to just do the sequel. There's a sequel. As you can see, I get four set procs right there. Four. So that was crazy. It's funny because I never ever get 4 set procs. So as you can see, I finally get, my lucky number. Here, these guys actually played pretty good. I think they lost because he tried preing and it ended up. So here, what I do is I sap the pit, I cheap shot the warlock, and then we're gonna sheep the lock. So as you can see, we're gonna sap the pit, cheap shot the lock, sap, cheap, kidney the priest. So we triple CC. My guy doesn't really need to worry about the resheep. He really needs to focus on damage. So here, instead of resheeping, he should be busting, and then we probably would have got trinket. But instead we go for the resheep, which is kind of questionable. If we went for the more bust damage, we probably would have got trinket. But overall, not bad. He ends up sheeping him on the coil, so I don't have to trinket or do anything. I actually get a free re-stealth as well. So before they've even got to do anything, we've already done our go and we're done. So they've let us just get a free go. So I go to try to sat the priest. Unfortunately, he doesn't AoE me out there. But, all goody. So I end up sapping the lock. No, I do not sap the lock. So he actually, this is the pre-dome I was talking about. He pre-domes. Now that was kind of, it was a good pre-dome because I can see it, but at the same time, it's like, if good people don't go in your dome, then it's like, it's worthless. So as you can see, I go solo here because the lock ends up trinketing the sheep, and my guy throws the trinket last second, I think, and we end up killing him. So it was really good. He tossed his trinket over like it was an NFL football. So the trinket killed his shields instantly. So instead of going for a heal because I had kick, he was forced to do that, and then the trinket went down. He was pretty much dead. The lock really needed to trinket instead of porting. So he tried to pre-port, right? He pre-ported the sheep into the sheep. So here instead, I face these guys a lot. What they do is they try to get your trinket and then try to one-tap you. Thankfully, in this situation, they get completely outplayed. My mage actually ends up getting them both out, which is really insane for us. I'm looking for the rogue here. My guy gets a really good AoE here, and it was really good. When you can get both rogues out and he's running away, so I see him running away. This rogue's trying to get a re-stealth. I shadowy dome low. I'm not gonna trinket. If you trinket here, it's really bad. He actually cloaks for no reason because he cloaks for zero reason. I pre-evasion his kidney, and then I blind him, and then I vanish on his trinket. So and then I'm gonna sap. This guy doesn't want to click the AoE because he doesn't know that I can actually sap him. So he ends up getting me out. I pre-disarm him so he can't kill me. Off DR, we're going to Kinney, and we basically just win. They got completely outplayed in every scenario. Nothing they can do about it. GG. Get outplayed, kid. Go back to 1400 and more. So an easy win, pretty much basic. Not much they can do about it when they get outplayed that hard. So this, we end up waiting for the eyeball, so I skip it to where, we actually get to play the game. My guy ends up getting him out with an insane altar time. Unfortunately, he does nelf it, and he gets a re. I know he's going to come back out, so I know he's going to be somewhere around here. As you can see, he comes back out. This presets a full Frost Nova. So as you can see, he doesn't have Dispel. In this situation, he needs to mass Dispel himself, and then the rogue doesn't have to trinket. So he should instantaneously be mass Dispelling the root, because I don't know why he didn't have a dispel in the first place. I guess he might have dispel the fire dot or something. I guess I don't know. I shadowy dome low here. We get evasion. He wants me to trinket blind. You do not want to trinket blind. Listen, when you're playing at higher CRs, you gotta hold that trinket. Hold that trinket for when you legit need to. Because if you don't, you will die. As you can see, I almost get 100. I get 140 by a priest clicking penance. Pretty crazy, huh? So he legit does my half of my HP bar in a penance. He kidneys me. I have to trinket because I'm already at 50%. We cheap shot. We're gonna run back into this because we have cloak, so cloak's gonna eat it. I'm gonna cheap shot him again. Maybe we can get another sheep. We end up getting another sheep, so we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna vanish right after the stun, so we can't get any more damage off on me. And now we're in a good spot. We've gotten double trinket. All we really need to do is we can't really pre-shape the rogue yet. We can pre now. So I'm telling him to keep in combat. Here, I do a really good play. So this is what rogues tend to not do. That when you're going for a re-stealth, make sure you're AoEing, because this is what can happen. Look, I go for the... So he tries to re, I sap him, and now all I have to do is blind. So he has nothing. He can't pre anything. He had death, but he just wasn't going to get it before I was going to get it. So he ends up dying. We get a full sheep. He almost lives through cheat death. Thankfully, he didn't. Thankfully, cheat death finally, did what it's supposed to do and not make you immortal. And we end up taking him out. For this game, these guys played really good. I think I think the only problem that they did is the druid getting sapped randomly was their loss because the druid couldn't peel. I think the druid should have definitely trinketed to come and roar us, but overall not bad at all. In this situation, my guy doesn't need to get in combat because he's not facing a rogue, so I think the only problem he done here is spell stealing instead of instantly going for the G-Pie. So I sap, he should instantly be going for the G-Pie. Instead, he comes out with a spell steal. He doesn't really need to do that versus a druid and a windwalker because it's not like he can get sapped or anything. So we end up getting a G-Pie. We don't get the G-Pie. I end up cheap shotting. I think we missed the ring, which kind of sucks, but oh well. I end up spacing my stun, and at this point, it wasn't like we weren't really in that much of a big deal because instead of the Windwalker healing himself, he should instantly be using his instant cast heal and just instantly coming out there. When you're at 90% HP, it's not much of a difference between 90 and 100 whenever our go's already done. So like there's no way we can just go after him. So no matter what, he's gonna get heals. So the Windwalker is staying in combat, which is not a bad thing. My guy still has bust, so it's like it's basically just a redo. Nobody had to use any CDs. So it was basically like nobody ever opened, thankfully, because my resend could have cost us. He gets a really good sheep here. He starts G-Pieing. He actually gets the G-Pie off this time. I pre-bomb, and then we get a really good go. So you're gonna use your Kyrian file for when he sickles you. So as you can see, as soon as he sickles me, I'm gonna use my file to counter it. So that is when you use your Kyrian file. Anytime you're facing a druid, use your Kyrian file for sickle. Just save it the entire game unless you physically have to use it while you're in the 2v2. Like if you're at 0 HP, I can see it. But, as you can see, I get a beautiful sap here. And this sap actually ends up getting us the dub. He actually pre-rops, but it doesn't matter because I end up cloaking and I use my trinket. And as you can see, I go through it for a second and he ends up dying. And I end up lining the druid so he can't keep me in combat. Because if he did get another stun and just done his full, bleeds, he probably could have killed me possibly. Because we've already done our CC. But for this game, I actually end up outplaying this rogue. I think we do a little bit things here wrong. Same thing here. Instead of going for the sheep, on our bus, we need to be just pumping in damage. Because if we were pumping in the damage, the game would have been over really quick. But instead, we go for a sheep. Sheeping's good, but when I cloak aggressively, it doesn't matter. So as you can see, I go to get the rogue out. Thankfully, I don't get sapped, because that was a really, it could have been really bad. So don't do that. As you can see, I get a really good sap. This is where we should bust them. But thankfully he trinkets. So as soon as he trinketed, my guy had like a second to not bust. He should have not clicked bust. So there he should have just not clicked bust. Because he was going to trinket no matter what. As you can see, we reset him again out of stealth with our macro. We're going to blind him and then run away. Because we know he's going to shifting power. So anytime, a mage is starting to get close to a guy, they're going to shifting. So again, we get a beautiful CC. I instantly trinket this, and it was a really bad trinket because I didn't think my guy was going for the resheep. Instead, he actually lives this. I don't know how. So instead of going for the re-sheep, he should have just pumped out damn. I think that's the only thing. Here, I should be dead. I should be 100% dead. They have bust. They have mark for death kidney. Thankfully, I vanish. He goes for the sheep. So thankfully, they messed up. If they did not, I probably would have been dead. And then, especially on the last go, my guy ends up peeling the rogue off me, thankfully, and I end up shadowy dueling, so I don't get, 1v1. So using shadowy duel is also good for defensive shreds. So at the end of this, I end up shadowy dueling the rogue when he busts on me at the end, and that is what you need to do. In a lot of situations, you're going to be using your shadowy duel as a defensive cooldown. Now, you can use it for an offensive if the rogue's at like 20%, and the stuns are going to be done, you can shadowy duel him and then just do as much damage. So here I know he's going to get the eyeball. We actually end up dodging a bullet, but They're in Discord. We're not, so we don't have much communication other than texting, like typing. So he's telling the rogue exactly where I am, and I kind of knew it, but unfortunately I do get sapped here before I can sap him because I wasn't spamming my sap macro, which I should have been, knowing the rogue was gonna be on me. My guy legit gets a perfect trinket DB. He goes for the ring. I end up I evasion as soon as he gets a really good ring, which actually saves me. I don't know if I probably would have lived by like 5% with the Kyrian file, and we end up killing him here. Thankfully, we have bust back and a beautiful win. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the unhittable damage, and I will see you guys in the next one. I did make a warlock, so we're going to be having some Affliction warlock gameplay in the future. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Check out my Twitch, twitch.tv/xvicttv. Check in the description for more, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace, boys. Have a good rest of your night or day.